But who I think the Orlando Magic will take with the first pick in the 2022 NBA draft, I think it's going to be Paolo. After everything I'm hearing, I'm thinking it's going to be Paolo because the Magic are being extremely secretive when it comes to the whereabouts of the workout with Paolo. They're being too secretive, and it's like something is up. Something don't smell right. So what? Who really needs to work out? What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today gonna talk some basketball. Orlando Magic basketball. Y'all already know what we're here talking about. We're here talking about the #1 overall pick. They did. The Orlando Magic make their selection and get their guy. They get their franchise guy and Paolo Banchero. We're gonna break down exactly why they went this route instead of going with Smith or going with Chet Holmgren. We're gonna break down before we do that, like I've been telling y'all before. If you liking the content, make sure you liking the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment on all the videos. You're sharing all the videos on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share on all those same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media as well. The links in the description below. We also giving away 30 days free Amazon Prime. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, what you waiting on? The link is in the description. If you don't got Amazon Prime, the link is in the description. You sign up and you get 30 days free. You get your free 30 days. The link is in the description. Hit that link. Get your free 30 days. And like I said, follow me on all my social media platforms. The links in the description below. And share these videos on social media. Hey, let's get this channel growing and growing and growing. Hey, it's time. The Orlando Magic fan base, we getting bigger now. We getting bigger now. We getting bigger now. We got the #1 overall pick. We got a franchise player. We gonna talk about it. Now, like I told y'all on the last one, as you just seen, that I predicted it. I said that the way everything was going down, the way everything was turning, that Paolo was going to be the pick. I just felt that I wanted Jabari, but I just felt that Paolo was going to be the pick. Now, I'm not going to lie. The way them eyes started flipping and shaking, I actually got scared. The reason why I got scared, because the more and more it was doing it, I was like, you know what? My fear might be that we draft Paolo and that we might trade him and get Chet Holmgren. So that's why I was probably more excited when OKC picked Chet Holmgren. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'm like, man, we might be drafting Paolo for the Rockets, and then we get stuck with whoever the Rockets get at 3. So I'm glad that I'm glad that Chet got drafted by OKC. That way, as soon as Chet got drafted by OKC, all right, good. So even if it is a trade, we're going to get Jabari, and that's what I wanted anyway. But the way everything was just going down, the whole secretive and about the workout, and it's been confirmed that they actually did not work him out. That they just did a lot of talking to him via the Zooms and things like that, but they didn't actually bring him in for a physical workout, which to me, I think it's odd, like the whole pushing back situation. Like, if the team has a #1 pick, and I know the reports was that Paolo felt that the Magic really didn't have real interest in him, and to me that's odd. I don't care if a team has interest in me or not. If the team that has the #1 overall pick is calling me to work out, I'm gonna work out. If it's look, I'm not even gonna get drafted. If the team with the #1 pick decides to work me out, I'm going to work. I asked to work me out. I'm going to work. So I kind of feel that's odd, but who knows? Especially with his agent being Mike Miller, being a former Orlando Magic himself, we'll only. No one really knows exactly what was going on, but it seems like Paolo was going to be that guy. It seems like Paolo was that guy from the jump. I don't think this is something that they just overnight, like the way the odds flipped. Like the odds went, and that's right there. It was crazy in itself about the whole odds, because Vegas be knowing something. Like Vegas be knowing something. This is a whole city, whole economy built off of people gambling and people losing their money. And just 3 days ago, Paulo I think was plus 1,600, and Jabari was I think minus 250, and then it flipped just in a 2 or 3 day span. It went from him being plus 1,600 to him being minus 200, and Jabari being plus 200. I mean, minus 250, being like plus 150 or some crazy stuff like that. So just the way those odds flip, somebody knows something. I know we always say talking about the Magic don't leak anything, but so for the odds to flip that quick, that fast, somebody had to tell Vegas something. Vegas be doing something. Vegas got leaks and got moles everywhere in all sports and all organizations. They have to. There's the only way those odds can flip like that. Somebody got to be knowing somebody. But now let's talk about the reason why the Orlando Magic went this route. And I kind of touched on this on the last 3 videos that I did. That the Magic are a team that they need identity. They have a lot of nice pieces with Cole, with Suggs, with Franz Wagner, with Wendell Carter, with Chuma, with J.I. if he comes back, with Markelle Fultz, with R.J. Hampton. They got a lot of nice pieces, but none of those guys really could be franchise-changing centerpiece guys. None of those guys really are. I know at one point Markelle was believed to be that because he was the number 1 overall pick, and when you're a number 1 overall pick, you should be believed to be that. I know 2 years ago, the way the season was starting off, it looked like from a defensive standpoint that J.I. could be that, but we haven't seen J.I. play basketball in 2 years now, so he has to get back on the court and play that way. And I know Franz Wagner had a real good rookie campaign, being first team all rookie. But do we really think he could be a franchise centerpiece player? I know we could be hopeful as Magic fans, but do we really think he could be a franchise centerpiece player? When you look at Paolo can be that guy. I mean, he was the number 1 leading scorer on Duke. Which is a bluebird of school. It's not like no little mid major. It's not like no little tournament team that barely gets in, or didn't even get to the tournament, get to the NIT actual bluebird school. And also they got all the way to the Final Four with him being the lead scorer, and he played well in that Final Four game, even though they lost. And I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but he's a guy he's a guy who is a primary scorer, which something the Orlando Magic need. The Orlando Magic have anybody score over average 20 points a game since 2005 outside Dwight Howard and Nikola. Outside Dwight Howard and Nikola Vuce, we not had a guy average 20 points a game since 2005, and that was Steve Francis. And he only averaged like 21.5 or something like that. That's the last time. Then, like I said, Dwight averaged over 20 points a couple times, and then obviously Nikola, both of his All-Star years, he averaged that as well. I think 1 year he averaged 20, the other year he averaged 24. Like his last year in Orlando, he averaged 24. So you need somebody who can be a primary scorer. And this guy's a guy who has a good game from an offense standpoint. Probably has a more complete offensive game than Jabari. I think Jabari is a better shooter. But you're talking about a guy who can score inside. He can score on all 3 levels, inside, outside. He has a better mid-range than Jabari. And he can finish at the rim. He can attack the paint. He can get to the free throw line. And when he gets a little bit further out, the percentages go down a little bit. But it's not that he's a terrible 3-point shooter. He's a fairly decent 3-point shooter. You could live with him being you could live with him the way he shoots a 3. You want him to get better, obviously, but you could actually live with it. You could actually live with that. Then he's a guy who can put the ball on the floor. He's a guy who can set up plays for other guys, help other guys set up plays. He's a guy who I believe can average 20 points. I think realistically he could average 25, 7, and 8. Really. Or at least 25, 5, and 8. I think he could be that type of guy, average 25, 5, and 8. 25 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds a game, and potentially even possibly get up into 27, 28, 29, even 30 if you run the offense through him, which I think they're going to do. I think he's going to get every opportunity. That's why I think that he would fit better from a mentality standpoint in Orlando better than both Houston or OKC, because Houston has Jalen Green, OKC has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got primary guys, primary scorers over there. They got guys who you build to be a franchise guy. Now, Paolo can get into a situation and prove that he's the better guy, he's the better scorer option, he's the better franchise guy. Yes, he absolutely could. here there's a clearer path. Now I do think that Jabari fits into this team a little bit more because you just plug him in. He's a guy who could be on the wing and hit threes. He definitely could do that. But I think that Paolo, when you want to, Paolo's the guy who you want to build around. And when you have the number one overall pick, it's either pick the guy who's the best suited for you, or the guy who better fits the team as the team constructed, or a guy who can fit what you're doing, but you could possibly change everything by giving him the keys. Well, he's the number one overall pick. If you feel like he's the better player, now if you feel the other guy's the better player, you can go ahead and go with the other guy. But if you feel that Paolo's the better player, which it seems like the Magic did, then you're going to build around him and you're going to change the way you do things. I know the concern is possibly Franz. How does Franz play next to him? And I think that's something they can work out because you're going to lean towards Paolo. He's the number one guy. Seeing the graphic with all the guys that we have with the number one selection, Dwight Howard, I think at career end of averaging 18 points per game. Shaq, his tenure in Orlando, I think averaged 24 points a game. So Paolo has his work cut out for him to compete, stand up to those guys. Both those guys led the team to the NBA Finals, and then also you already know you drafted Chris Webber, but you traded for Penny. He was also on the team with Shaq to get him to the Finals back in '95. So the pressure's on from a history standpoint with the Magic and the number one pick because we've hit or made a good decision. When it comes to Shaq and when it comes to Dwight, we absolutely hit. And Shaq was a no-brainer. That's who you take. And then they made the right decision by trading and acquiring Penny. Is this the right decision? Is this the right move? Is this the guy who you can build your franchise around? I believe you can, to be honest with you. I believe he's a guy who you can build your franchise around. And I think he's a guy who you can lean towards. I think he's a guy that you definitely can lean towards. And I think you should, like I said, because you have all the pieces around you with the other guys. You just need a guy who could be a superstar. And I think that Paolo has the best potential, the most potential to be a superstar, to be a star player on the team right now. Out of everybody who's on the team right now, I think he's a guy who has the most potential to be the star guy, to be the main guy. Now, the knock on him is his defense. To be honest, this team here is the best team actually out of the three teams that suits his poor defense. I think it's more so a lack of effort. I mean, he's 6'10", 250. So it's not that he's light. He's a guy who's big. I think it was more so that he was giving too much on the offensive end. The Duke, kind of like how James Harden was with the Rockets, he would give so much energy on the offensive end that he was taking his breaks and taking his time and taking his rest when it comes to defense because how much he had to give on the offensive end. I think it was a little bit of that with Duke, that he was giving too much on the offensive end. He was carrying too much of the burden of being the primary offensive scorer for Duke. I think that was the case. And that way his defense took off a little bit. And you hear his conversations ever since he's been drafted, he's been talking about what he brings to the game. He brings defense on by himself. I'm like, dude, wait. That's the knock on you as a defense. B Keys bringing up defense. But I say with a guy like Suggs, Markelle Fultz, Chuma, Wendell, J.I. when J.I. comes back, this team collectively plays a lot of defense, collectively plays very aggressive on defense, and then you have Mobley as the coach. Defense is not a problem with the Magic as extraordinary. Scoring is. They were the second worst team offensively in the NBA last year and dead last in three-point shooting. Now, I know Jabari would have helped with that whole dead last in three-point shooting, but this kid here, Paolo, is going to help with this being second worst offense in the NBA. So that's what this right here is going to happen. Now, because of that, like I told y'all before, and I told y'all in the last couple of videos talking about Paolo, if he's a guy who's averaging 28, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30 points a game, I can give a damn how bad he plays on defense. I don't care. I don't care if you have to call timeouts to get rid of him because he'd be a liability. I don't think he's that bad on defense. But if he's a guy who's consistently giving you those type of points, giving you those type of buckets, because this is a guy who gets buckets, I'm okay. My biggest knock on him has nothing to do with his lack of defense or his three-point shooting. It's the fact that he played for Duke. And he was on the team that lost to North Carolina. Duke's number one rival. They have never played each other in the tournament ever. And playing the Final Four, Coach K's last game, and you lose to your rival. That's probably the biggest knock to me on them is that, and now sidebar, I am a Duke fan, if y'all did not know. But that's probably my biggest knock, even though he played well, he was on the team. That's my biggest knock, is that you lose in the Final Four to North Carolina, which is your rival, your number one rival. And it's the first time in school history that y'all play in the tournament. Y'all play in the Final Four, and you lose to him in the Final Four, and it's Coach K's last game. That's my biggest knock on Paolo as of right now. That and that suit, that was too much. All them diamonds on it, that was weird. That was weird. That was a little bit weird. But other than that, obviously, y'all know I'm kidding when it comes to both of those situations. Even though I'm not kidding about the suit being weird, and I'm upset that he lost to North Carolina. But I'm joking about having had anything to do with knocks on them as far as drafting them. But like I said, I thought Jabari. I'm not a person who flips. I've seen a lot of people doing that on Twitter and on Instagram. A lot of Rocket fans who wanted Paolo now talking about how bad Paolo is, and they're happy they got Jabari. So I'm not that type of dude. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna act. Oh, Paolo is this, but no, I wanted Jabari. Just like last year, I wanted Jalen Green. I wanted Jabari. I think Jabari is going to be a nice player. I think Jabari is going to be a good player with the potential to be a star player, but he doesn't have to step into that star role right now. Paolo, I believe Paolo can and will be a star player. I felt like that if he was in Houston or if he's now obviously in Orlando. Now I do think him being in Orlando is going to be in a better position for him to start off early on that trajectory. I think he's going to fast track to get Rookie of the Year. I think he should be the favorite to get Rookie of the Year because they're going to run their offense through him. I believe that he possibly will score 20 points his rookie year. Remember, this team last year, leading scorer was Cole Anthony, averaging 16 points a game, coming off the bench. This is not, like I said before, this is not Jay Crawford or Lou Williams who were six men of the year and they were leading their team in scoring, but they was averaging 20 points coming off the bench because they were scoring at high clips, averaging 20 points a game. This is a guy who's your leading scorer, averaging only 16 points a game, and he's coming off the bench. That's not good. So if Paolo scores 17 points, he's already the leading scorer. That's what that tells me. Now I'm pretty sure Cole and everybody's going to do a little bit better this year, but that's the problem with this Magic offense right now. That's the problem with this Magic team right now. They don't have a primary scorer, and they don't have a superstar. I think Jabari fixed that. Now the other thing is that they don't have a shooter. They don't have a shooter. I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with Terrence Ross. But I don't know. All in all, we don't know what's going to happen with Terrence Ross. I believe that Terrence Ross more likely won't be on this team when it comes to the trade deadline, but we'll see. My expectations, I actually have very decent expectations for the Magic this year. I mean, it's time to put up a shut up. I mean, you've acquired a lot of young talent over the past couple of years, a lot of lottery talent. I mean, you have 3 picks who were not lottery picks out of Cole, R.J. Hampton, and Chuma. Those 3 guys are not lottery picks, but the main core of your guys are all lottery picks. If you bring back Mo Bamba, and Wendell Carter, we actually went 2 picks after a pick after each other. Mo Bamba went 6, Wendell went 7. In the same draft, in the 2018 draft. 2017 draft, you have the number 1 pick in Markelle Fultz, and then you have your pick, the number 6 pick in Jonathan Isaac. Then you have last year's draft where you drafted Jalen Suggs 5th and then drafted Franz Wagner 8th. Franz Wagner is your lowest lottery pick at 8 because you have Isaac and Bamba both were taken at 6, Wendell taken at 7. Even though you didn't draft Wendell, but Wendell was taken at 7. Markelle was taken at 1, even though you didn't draft Markelle. and then you took Franz Wagner at 8, and you took Jalen Suggs at 5, and now you've taken Paolo at 1. Franz Wagner is your lowest lottery pick at 8. We have two guys who took in 1, 2 guys who took in 6, a guy took in 5th, and a guy took in 7, and a guy took in 8. As far as the lottery pick since 2017, it's a lot. It's a lot of talent. Supposedly, you have to make good on it now. Now you have to make good on it. There's no more. And these guys been playing. Like the only one who's really new to it is the 2 guys you drafted last year, and Wagner and Suggs, and now Apollo. But I mean, Wagner's coming off a first team all rookie season. Paolo, I know this is college, he's coming off of being the main player of the team that's going to a Final Four. So you had that, even though they didn't win a championship, you had that type of championship mentality and the championship pedigree. And then, I mean, you had other guys who played in playoff series, and Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac and Obama when they come back. These guys play in playoff series. Both J.I. and Obama played against Toronto a couple years ago, and then obviously Markelle played against Milwaukee in the bubble, and then Wendell's played a significant amount of minutes. So these are not guys who are new to the party. So you have to put up a shove now. Now you have to get into the situation where you put up a shove. There's no time to be lackadaisical. There's no time to be not showing up. You have to. You obviously have to show up. So we have to see you show up. But I give the pick an 8. I mean, obviously, like I said, you had to get it. You had to get it right. You had to go after that guy. You have to go after scoring, because what this team has been doing scoring wise, a lack thereof. And like I said, I told y'all the other day that's what they were gonna do. And I think they have their franchise guy. I think they have the guy who they can lean on and who they can carry on, who they believe is their franchise guy. A guy I definitely think they can and will build around. I'm gonna have a video about that next, about what's the way to build. How do you build around Paolo? What do you do around him? And how do you build this Orlando Magic team going forward? So y'all be on the lookout for that. Like, share, subscribe, comment below if you like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.